Hello everyone and welcome to Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. My name is Sarah. In today's DIY video, we are making these decorative wood balls out of styrofoam balls and balloons. You won't believe how incredible these decorative balls are and how realistic. They really look like wood. And you really won't believe how easy they are to make. So stick around and let's go make some stuff and jump right into this. In today's DIY video, we are making some absolutely gorgeous decorative wooden balls. We're using these ivory color balloons, and really any opaque white or cream colored balloon will work for this. These are the 11-inch balloons, and I will link them in the description box below. I'm also using these 3-inch styrofoam balls. I got them on Amazon. I think it was like a package of 12, very inexpensive. I'll link them below for you. We're going to be working with 6 different brown shaded colors of Ranger alcohol ink. I will list all the names of the colors and all that information below. We're going to be using 91% alcohol, which is different than the regular alcohol you use. You got to get the 91%. I got this at Home Depot. I got a really large bottle and they're very, very inexpensive. We're going to use that with the alcohol inks. That is how we use them, but we will get more into that later. You're also going to need a couple of cheap makeup brushes. I got these on Amazon. I got a whole pack of them and they were pretty cheap, but you can also get these at Dollar Tree. You can just buy the single ones. I got the idea for this back when everyone was using those foam dice from Dollar Tree to make all those beautiful farmhouse letter blocks. And they started covering the dice with balloons instead of trying to paint them, because sometimes painting foam can be pretty tricky, and using a balloon, well, that totally solves that problem. So I thought, I'm going to cover these styrofoam balls with balloons. To do this, first you're going to cut the mouthpiece and the tail off of the balloon. This is what I'm doing here, and then you're going to have to stretch out that balloon and stretch it and pull it over the ball as neatly as you can. You'll have to adjust it and give it a tug here and there to minimize any bumps and or wrinkles, and it's pretty easy to manipulate though once you get the hang of pulling this over the ball. And you can see here, I mean, you can struggle at the beginning, but all in all it's really fairly simple. On this first ball, I only used one balloon, and I trimmed the leftover balloon from where I cut. And I figured I'd glue it down flat and out of the way later, but you will see in all the rest of the balls, I used 2 balloons. The second balloon starting on the other side of the ball, and no glue would then be needed and no styrofoam is visible. This is a much better way, and it's what I recommend that you do, but you'll see what I mean later. I use a skewer stuck into the styrofoam ball so that I can maneuver it, spin the ball around and all of that without having to touch it. You also want to wear gloves because alcohol ink can be very messy and it does stain hands. Now, if you saw my video on turning a glass bowl into wood, you know what's coming next. If you haven't seen it, I will link it below. We are going to be using these alcohol inks to fake a wood grain on the balloon covered balls. And when you see how easy it is to fake a wood grain on almost any solid non-porous surface, I'm warning you, you will be hooked. And you too will be searching your home for things to turn into wood. Don't say I didn't warn you. For this first ball, the ink that I'm using is the color Latte. We've set a small cup of 91% alcohol aside to cut through the inks, and if you're not familiar, you use alcohol just like you would use water to work with watercolor paints. The alcohol actually penetrates the inks and it can alter their color, making it lighter or darker. To make a wood grain, I dipped my makeup brush into some alcohol, dried it a little on a paper towel, and squeezed some drops of ink onto the brush, and then paint the ink onto the ball in long strokes going all the way around. This eventually gives the ball the look of being made out of wood, with all of those lines and those little imperfections that you would see in a piece of wood. I wanted to get a good base coat on the whole ball first, and then I went back over with more ink, going over and over the entire ball until the color was deep enough for my liking. This is still just one color we're using, it's the Latte, and the alcohol in our brush causes the ink to spread out and actually get some dimension to it. It almost looks like multiple colors, but it's not. You can use different size brushes depending on what effect you're looking for. You will see that I end up using several different sizes throughout this project. The beauty of painting this ink onto the balloon surface as opposed to on a painted surface is that we don't have to worry about pushing our brush too hard and having the alcohol dissolve or mess up the base or the primer paint that's beneath it. This stuff is pretty indestructible, and because of that, you can get really aggressive with your brushing and the amount of ink that you use. I apologize that a lot of this particular ball seems to have ended up off camera. By the time I realized this, it was too late, so I'm hoping that you can see enough of the process to really understand all of the instructions. And as always, if it's not clear or you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a question in the comments below. I am really pretty good about answering quickly. After I paint a stroke, the ink continues to spread out and change. Honestly, it's a little like it paints itself, no joke. You can kind of see how it's starting to resemble wood already, and if you think I'm making this look easy, I swear that I am not. This process is really this simple. Like, it's goof proof, and actually the places you think you messed up usually turn out to look even better. It's truly this easy. I'm encouraging all of you to give this a try. You'll be hooked, I promise. The second ball, I used the two balloon process. And after it's painted, you don't even see where the second balloon is cut. It sort of just disappears into the ball. I'm using the color Espresso for the second ball, and we're going to paint it in the exact same way. Dipping it into the alcohol, dabbing onto the paper towel, and applying the ink to the brush directly. I used a little smaller brush this time, but the process is still the same. You cover the whole ball with color, and then go back and you add more color. I decided to put a knot, or more accurately, a fake wood knot on this darker ball. And the way that you do this is to wet your brush with alcohol, and you're actually going to push the ink with your brush. You're going to push it around in an imperfect circular motion, and you spiral it over and over until the result looks wood knot like. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and even when you mess it up, it still looks pretty good. On the third ball, I used the color Ginger, and just like the second ball, we ended up using two balloons on this ball also, and we're going to paint the ginger color on exactly the same way. It's a little bit more of a reddish kind of a wood color, but it's still very nice, and we're going to use the same method that we used for the other two. The fourth ball, I decided to use the Latte again because I had something different in mind for this ball. I still used two balloons, and I painted on the first coat of Latte ink all around the entire ball. What I did with this one is traced a basic star shape onto some painter's tape and cut out the tape and stuck the star in the middle of the Latte ball that I had just painted. And by the way, this ink dries incredibly fast, like 5 minutes fast. So I stuck the star on and sealed the edges as best that I could, and then painted over the whole ball in the dark Espresso color. And I'll reveal the final outcome on that ball later. With the next ball, I decided to change things up a bit, and I used two colors, the Espresso and the Teakwood color. And I had the image in mind of some of those ultra high-end antique distressed teak balls that I had seen online for some really high prices, but ours is made out of balloons and styrofoam. So I painted the lighter color Teakwood first over the whole ball, and I used a smaller brush to make some blotches, for lack of a better word, of the Espresso in certain spots of the ball where I thought they would look natural. And if you're not familiar with these teak balls that I'm referring to, do a Google search. They're really, really pretty, and you will get the gist of exactly what I'm going for here. For the next ball, I ended up using the color Sepia, or Sepia, I'm not sure how you say it, which is also more of a reddish toned wood, but very pretty. And then I did a nice dark Espresso ball. The last ball that I did was in the color Caramel, which is a really nice, warm, light brown. And these are how my decorative wooden balls turned out. I think for a bag of styrofoam balls and balloons, they came out gorgeous. Just look at the ball with the star. It totally looks like a wooden ball that you'd see in Pottery Barn. The distressed teak spotted ball could totally have been on the Restoration Hardware website. I think all the balls have a very sophisticated and high-end look to them. I love all the wood tones, and I will probably do this project again, maybe with some specific colors in mind. Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite or what you think of them. All in all, I think this is a really quick and inexpensive, easy way to turn up your home decor several notches. Everyone is going to think these are wood and think they're spectacular. I hope you enjoyed this Medicated Housewife DIY, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more fun, easy, and beautiful DIYs. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.